Hello everyone, Miss Carrie here from Miss Carrie's Creations with another holiday scrapbook page idea for you to try. Today I'm going to be creating a holiday traditions page using some perspectives that will be arriving in your January Fox box. I'm also going to be using a traditions title and these lovely little pine trees. On my project, I'll be using these new perspectives that will be arriving in the January Fox box. I just love those little cups. Aren't they cute? I'm going to be adding a few other perspectives from the holiday collection. This traditions title is left over from the Christmas title that I used earlier in the month, and I have these little trees, which I'm going to use to create a village scene. I have selected some papers and ephemera from the Winter Chalet collection. The greens and blues in this collection are going to pair well with the color of the cups and that title. These are the photos that we took at the Parade of Lights in Estes Park. Right before the light parade starts, we usually grab ourselves a cup of coffee, cocoa, or tea because it gets rather cold when the sun goes down. I'm going to be placing the photos up here on the right with some strips of pattern paper behind it. And I'll be adding the title Winter Traditions over on the left with those little cups. At the base of the page, I'll be creating a little village scene on some torn papers. These houses were created using some dies. I did assemble them off camera because they took a little bit more time than I wanted to share with you today. I really like this die set, and I know that I'll be using it again in the future, so I'll try to post a video of one of the houses being assembled. The little village pieces were created from the same pattern paper that I'm using on the page. This helps to bring some cohesiveness to the layout and bring some of those colors and patterns from around the photo down to the lower part of the layout. Right now I'm just trying to design a rough placement of these pieces so that I can mark where all of the elements go before I add some texture paste snowflakes in the background. I'm going to mix some soft blue ink with modeling paste to create some snowflakes. I don't want to completely mix in the color into the paste because I want a little bit of white to show through. I'm using Speckled Egg Distress Oxide ink because I like that soft blue color and how it has almost like a chalk-like finish. I'm going to be using this stencil from Bramble Fox that has some larger and smaller snowflakes on it. I'm going to place the larger snowflake to the left so that it peeks out behind the photo and the title. And then I'm going to add two more images which will help to frame the photo. The color of this paste is also going to help that title stand out a little bit more and fill in some of the white space in the background. I'm also going to be adding a few little splatters on this page. I'm just going to add some more ink down onto my silicone mat there, add a little bit of water, and use a paintbrush to add some small splatters. I'm just going to add these splatters around those little snowflakes and leave the rest of this white. Once everything had dried, I added some stitching around the sides of the cardstock and roughed up the edges. Now I'm going to add those layers of torn cardstock that resembles some hills of snow at the base of the page. I do want to curl the edges a little bit, so I'm spraying them with water. Adding the water helps to soften the fibers in the paper, and it makes it a lot easier to roll. You could also do this with a water brush. I've shown that in some previous videos, but it's just a lot faster to use a spritz of water with a spray bottle. Now I am trying to figure out the placement here, and once I have everything placed down, I'm going to go ahead and trim the excess off the sides, and then I'm going to frame it in some blue pattern paper. This blue pattern paper has almost like a snow flurry design to it, and it matches the title and some of the other elements on the page. Now I'm going to start adding all of the embellishments. While I do that, I do want to tell you a little bit of a story behind this photo. Every year after Thanksgiving, our family travels to a light parade up in the mountains. As we scrapbookers do, I tried to grab some photos. My daughter looked at her boyfriend and said, "We smile for the photo." And he looked at her with that goofy grin, and I caught a picture right as she was looking at him with a look of, "I can't believe you just did that." And then she started laughing. I love it when I am able to capture photos that tell a story. So I've gone ahead and I've laid my photos in place. I added those strips of pattern paper behind it and a little bit of that lovely wood grain pattern. At the base of the page, I'm starting to build that little village scene. I'm going to be adding some of the tree perspectives within those houses, but I really want to make sure I get the spacing right first. I am using a little bit of foam tape here and there to add some dimension, but I don't want to add too much because some of those trees are going to be layered over the tops of the houses, and I don't want to add too much foam tape to the back. Near the photo, I did add a little tree sticker. This is a color that comes from the village below, and I wanted to bring it up here near the photo. I did lay down my title perspective with a die cut phrase that says hot cocoa season. Once that title was in place, I added those little cups beside it. I did layer these on top of each other, so I had to place a little bit of foam tape behind one of the cups. Now I'm going to finish adding the tree perspectives at the base of the page. The layers here are a bit thick with the rolling, so I had to make sure that I glued them down well and held them in place. And in some places I had to add a tiny bit of foam tape on the back to try to keep everything level and in place. Once all of the trees were added, I started to feel like that upper right corner was a bit sparse. So I brought in a few snowflake stickers, a plaid heart die cut, and a little sentiment. This brought in some more of the colors from that title up to this area of the page without overwhelming the design. Now I'm going to finish up this page with some journaling, and then I'll share the finished layout. Off camera, I added a little bit of stitching near the title, and I placed a hidden pocket behind the page for my journaling. I used top-loading page protectors, so this is going to be able to be pulled right out for someone to read. Now I want to share a few close-up photos of this layout so that you can see it in a little bit more detail. This page was created using a mix of holiday and winter perspectives in my collection that I paired with some lovely seasonal pattern papers. I like that mix of elements here with a village scene, the torn papers, textured snowflakes, and bits of stitching. I think my favorite part of this layout is the fact that that photo tells the story of these two goofing around as I was trying to grab a picture of them to record this memory. I want to thank you for joining me as I created another scrapbook layout and shared this memory with you. If you would like to see more of my projects, you can visit my channel or follow Miss Carrie's Creations online. If you have any questions about this project or the supplies that I listed in the description, feel free to comment below. I hope that you have a wonderful week, and I can't wait to see what you create.